I'm not sure if you've noticed, but social media is changing. The internet is changing. This year, if my feed and the feeds of my friends around me are right, three things are going to be huge and shifting things within this year, 2025. And I could be wrong, but this is what I feel like it's coming to. There's going to be a different environment on YouTube and probably all platforms across Instagram, TikTok, whatever happens, things are going to change. And we'll get to that eventually. My name is Enrique. I make React content on YouTube. I started this a while ago, but I first started on Twitch, literally just having fun with my friends. And with this channel, I've been watching anime, honestly catching up on stuff that I've missed or I feel like is important in anime that I haven't got to, or people that have commented and said, hey, you should check this out or check that out. And I love it. I do it because I enjoy making the content. Growing up with social media, I've always had it kind of around me in some way. I mean, I was born in 97. By like the time I was able to coherently use the internet, I was on YouTube. I mean, YouTube started off as a place where you could share like funny, silly, dumb, sometimes serious or even like really personal stuff on YouTube with kind of whoever happened to come across that video. And along the way, things started to change a little bit. Obviously, we had people like Smosh who started making their skits back in the day, and now it is completely evolved to much more professional level, but at the same time, they feel a lot more grounded now than they ever have been. Or even back when people used to make like daily vlogs and stuff like that, try and show what they went through throughout the day. It was interesting, but then it started morphing into something of trying to force something interesting. And that's kind of where we are now. Once you realize that you could get all these views, the AdSense, you could make YouTube a career. I mean, people started to take it a little more seriously, got new cameras, got mics, got all these different things to make their production value go up, that they started losing what the whole platform, what sharing content in the first place was all about, because it became about money. People stopped making content for the sake of having fun, doing things because they liked it. They were forcing things to be fun. They were forcing something to happen, or even faking something to happen, like prank videos, which are still the worst thing we have. It needed to happen in order for them to make money and continue to make it. That's why you have some of the most insufferable people still making it and doing well on any platform, to be honest. You started having people turn into two like main categories. You had people that were making content for fun, things that they genuinely enjoyed, and people doing whatever they could to make money and make content out of that. And to be fair, some people will eat anything up, even if it's a meme coin with a red countdown and a detonator right next to it. They're still going to do it because that person told them to. But with YouTube specifically being originally somewhere where you could broadcast yourself, it feels like social media is going to go back to what that once was, back to those three things I mentioned earlier, which is, I think, exactly where social media is going to start moving forward. First of all, we have so much AI content garbage that has shown up in the feeds, specifically shorts, probably for the most part, and on Instagram Reels, TikTok. It's just, if I hear that robot voice one more time over Minecraft or GTA, I'm going to lose my mind. It's just content that is regurgitated, that is taken from other sources anyway. Probably most people that make that stuff don't even own any of that, which is a whole different video in and of itself. But I'm starting to see a lot less of it now. I feel like I'm starting to see a lot more people watching people just do normal things again and just exist and give their thoughts. It's becoming less refined again. Like I mentioned earlier with YouTube becoming a business and a job, you could do whatever you want there. You could form a business however you wanted to. And now, because that got all professional, now we're trying to see content that is less professional. We're trying to see things that look like you just made it on your phone. Back in the day, it would have been just something that you randomly made on your camcorder that had no professional lighting, no professional audio, nothing like that. It was just, you made it because you wanted to make something for fun. And to be fair, like a lot of these AI things can be just Reddit stories or whatever. I'd rather watch Smosh, or I'd rather watch Dungeons and Dragons creators talk about stories from Reddit rather than just that robot voice. If I hear it, I'm gonna lose it. I would rather hear real people doing it anyway, even if it's the same content. That's not the point of it. And that leads me to my second point. The second big thing I think that's gonna influence this change is that people are moving away from that AI content and going to user-generated content. They want to see people do their own thing. They want to see people just exist again. It feels like more people now are being a little more genuine on Instagram. They're being a little more genuine on their videos and kind of trying to capture what we once had, trying to capture, I guess, a sense of community that I think some people still do get. I feel like Discord and Twitch still has that little bit of sense of community that holds on to why Twitch is so kind of loved still, even though they've misstepped so hard kind of in the past. And I don't have any hate towards it, but I can understand why you would like be a ride or die for them. But like I mentioned, there were so many people kind of trying to push something towards you that now you're seeing a lot more gym content for the sake of, this is what I like to do. I don't really care if you don't like doing it or not. Do whatever you want. Or same thing with cooking, same thing with, I guess, some beauty videos, because my friend was telling me about that. With so much music out there, there has just been so many artists, so many bands making their own content based around their music, that like you have that and the people recommending those people or recommending other music. There is just a lot more just realistic, this is my take, if you don't like it, whatever, I don't care, but some people will, hopefully. And that's when they find their own little sense of community. And I've seen it with small creators too on YouTube promoting themselves in other places that I realize they're just doing their thing, they're just having fun, and somehow it's kind of working for them, and it doesn't seem like they expect it. And not to mention, it doesn't seem like they expect it, but it also doesn't seem like they really are looking for it. They have other things they're doing. We all have, obviously, hopefully we all have jobs, and if you do, you're not really worried about trying to make money on YouTube. But as a lot of people now kind of don't have cable, a lot of people either are looking at longer form shows, they're trying to get away from their phone because every algorithm is just trying to suck you in and keep you there as long as you can. But TikTok and Instagram started to allow longer videos for a reason, which leads me to my kind of last point. That quick pace, 2 different things happening at once, 80 things coming at your face in order to try and make you forget that you just watched a 2-minute ad is basically gonna disappear. I cannot imagine that's gonna sustain itself for much longer than it already has. Mainly because, I mean, we saw such a great boom in podcasts, but there's so many podcasts now that's kind of saturated too. Nobody wants to listen to you talk for an hour and a half. But if you have something really interesting you're talking about for a long period of time, or an event you're doing, or something where your content is long form for an actual reason, more people are going to gravitate towards listening to that or watching that for however long, as opposed to a quick 2-3 minute video that kind of is just trying to push as much at you as possible, most likely on your phone, because on YouTube, long form content is king. And someone that really comes to mind with that, I think that exploded a little bit last year and last couple of years, I guess, was Jenny Nicholson, who I know that everybody, there's like 11 million views on her video on the Star Wars Hotel. And you know at least one person that has watched that video, and that video is 4 hours long. But she gave a shit so much about that whole premise that it makes you care too. Everything you'll see most of the time on Instagram or on TikTok, unless it's personal, unless it makes you give a shit, unless it's something you already care about, is not gonna do what Jenny Nicholson did in that video for 4 hours. It is insane to try and lock your attention in for that long, because the idea of Instagram, the idea of TikTok is grabbing your attention short enough amount of time, but then moving you on to something else and hoping that grabs it too, or even for a little bit. If you keep scrolling, you're going to look for something just for the sake of looking at something. But when you have something like a 4-hour video to look forward to, you kind of have that time locked in. One of our other top videos is also just about 4 hours long, and I'm sure the Evermore Park video and the video about the Star Wars Hotel, most people probably knew very, very little about both of them, and yet they have insane amount of views for how long those videos are. And I think it's because at the end of the day, she cares so much about what she was talking about, and people want to see people caring. I think they've seen the influencers that don't care this. They've seen the influencers that are just trying to make money, and people are tired of it. I know I'm tired of it. That's why I'm trying to not do that anymore. Granted, most of the content I made because I gave a shit about it and I cared about making the stuff and having fun with what I wanted to do. But even in the future, I want to try and make stuff that is more towards what I really care about. And eventually people are going to gravitate towards that too if they care about it too. If I care enough, you're going to care enough. And I know like most of these changes I've been talking about, most of these little things are within like my small bubble compared to how many views, how many people are out there, how often all this is used. I know it's not crazy. Do I hope that we kind of go back to what we used to be a little bit, where it was just people doing things for fun, as opposed to hoping that you're going to click that learn more button and you're going to do this and you're going to do that and you're going to do that. That way, maybe they can make a little more money on you. Yeah, obviously. Seeing those auto-generated content reels and those podcast reels, except for you, Frankie and Joey, you can stay. But podcast reels, they're killing me. I'm hoping to branch out, to do my own thing, and kind of hope that everybody else starts to change a little bit too with their own content and be a little more real. I've seen it with some people that do react content. They're reacting to things that kind of they care about more, as opposed to doing things that the algorithm wants them to do, but they're still trying to find a way to do what they want and work the algorithm. There is a way to please both things, enjoy what you're doing, but also not throw garbage at an audience. You know what I mean? Full transparency, I do this for a living, just not for me, obviously. I do it for other people, but I figured at this point, I've only been making content right here at my desk, and I want to try and branch out and do other stuff. From here on out, I am going to try and do that. Aha, big things coming. But seriously though, because I feel like everybody does it at this point, but I do work out a lot. I work on music. Granted, that's not really a huge thing, so don't get your hopes up. It's probably garbage. We'll find out maybe. I love to cook. I love listening to music. There's a ton of different content I want to make throughout the year, because no one person's just doing the one thing and that's it. I like seeing what people think about several different things, so it makes no sense for me to hold myself to one thing either and pretend like anime is the only thing I watch, which it is obviously not. I'm going to make a full video kind of giving my thoughts on how I feel about my content and where I'm going to see myself in the future. It is going to be a cool year. I'm excited to see kind of where things go. I don't know if I'm right or not. It's just a theory. We could see things change in a way that I think is going to be fun and better, I think, overall for the internet space. But you never know. I could be completely wrong and it could just get worse. So fingers crossed. Hopefully you guys want to stick around, and I will see you guys in some random thing I make in the next, like, I don't know, month. Who knows? We'll see. Bye.